The Malayan Park contains two Malayan statues which are similar to each other. Now, the original statue and the cup statue, which has heights of 10 meters and 2 meters respectively. On a given map, 1 cm represents 20 meters. So if the total area of the bases of both statues is 52 meters square, in part 1, we need to find the total area of the bases of both statues on the map. Okay, so how do we go about doing this is in part 1, what we might want to do is to first write down the ratio of map is to actual. This talks about having 1 cm on the map representing 20 meters on the actual ground. Now, when we have a linear ratio, this is what we call linear ratio, right? Having a one line representing 20 meters, we can simply square both sides to allow us to have the area ratio, because 1 cm square will allow us to represent 20 meters square, which is actually 400 meters square on the actual ground. So 1 cm square area ratio represents 400 meter squares on the actual ground. Okay, so if I want to tell myself that the total area of the bases of both statues is 52, this is talking about the actual area ratio, right? So how do I get to 52 meters square? Wow, simply to do. I mean, if you are not able to see quick, you can divide by 1 first before multiplying by 400, right? So here, this will be taking 1, right? You can divide this by 400 before you multiply by 52, right? So this is basically multiplying by 52 over 400, which gives you the answer to be 0.13 cm square. Okay, so that's the answer for part 1. And finally, you write down the total area of the bases of both statues on the map is 0.13 cm squared. Okay, so that's for part 1. So let's look at part 2. I want to find the area of the base of the original statue on the map. So what is the original statue? Right, the original statue, which is actually the one that consists of 10 meters. So we have to read the question very carefully. The original statue and the cup, which have 10 meters height and 2 meters respectively. So we are interested in the original statue. Height is 10 meters. It's the first Malayan statue, right? So we know that if you are looking at two statues, right, that are similar to each other, there are a lot of things that will come to your mind. Example, the area ratio is the square of the side ratio. Right? So the area of the base of the original statue on the map, okay, the original one, if we consider the area of the original over the area of the cup, this should be the same as the square of the side ratio, which is 10 meters over 2 meters, right? Because we know that the height 10 and 2, and since they are similar, the area ratio is the square of the side ratio, which gives us 25. All right, so we know that this ratio is 25. Now consider that it means that if this 0.13, which is the area of both statues on the map, represents a total of 0.13 cm square, if I were to add in, consider that the original represents 25 units, the cup represents 1 unit, right? Because the area is 25 over 1 basically. Then if I will take 25 units over 26, which is the total number of units, multiply by 0.13 cm square, right? Because this is the total area of both statues, both bases, right? Basically both bases on the map. Whereas this 25 here represents the proportion or the stick of the original statue. This represents the units that depicts or representing the original statue. Whereas 26 represents the total number of units for both statue. Alright, so if I want to find out how much the original statue actually occupy, this is the fraction of 0.13 that I will take, which provides me with 0.125 cm squared. Alright, this is the area of the base of the original statue on the map, which is a proportion of 0.13 basically. Okay, thank you.